I am 38 and I'm 20 pounds lighter than when I was 28. I wish I had known these hacks in my 20s because they would have saved me years of painful trial and error. I promise that if you just check these off as you go about your day, you will lose weight without feeling restricted, without overeating, and without hateful exercise. We start in the afternoon where the goal is to reduce overeating. The first hack is a double punch. If while losing weight you tend to get hungry after only an hour or two of eating, or if a small bite of your craved sweet or junk slides into an all-out binge, then add a palm-sized amount of lean protein to every snack and every meal. Because protein is very satiating, you will get hungry at the natural 3 to 4 hour gap after meals and find it hard to slide into an all-out binge. But what if you enjoy the protein? And so even if you don't binge, you end up eating more than you should. This is why the second hack aims to give you more chances to switch from mindless to intentional brain between servings. You do this by always eating your craved food and protein combo in another room away from the containers of food. But what if you pile your bowl with 2 to 3 servings from the start? You can't with the third hack. Always use a half US cup sized bowl when eating craved foods and a 1 US cup sized bowl for meals. Eat with a small spoon or fork to allow for more time to savor the food, which then reduces the urge for refills. But if you're like me, you can easily refill 5, 6, even 10 times if there is entertainment attached all through the trek to the kitchen and back. Thus, the fourth hack is not to watch anything. You can socialize or listen to something because neither hijack your brain into mindlessness as much as watching something does. Good catch, discerning viewer. The fifth hack further reduces mindless refills. Drink 1 cup of water after each serving and then decide if you want another serving. But what about not just reducing the size of cravings, but also their frequency? And that's why the sixth hack is every time you're about to eat something, say out loud, "I'm about to eat or drink food out of hunger or craving," and then eat it. This halved my indulgence of cravings. But what if your cravings frequency must be reduced by more than half to keep seeing weight loss? The seventh hack takes advantage of the fact that our brain associates any swallowing movement with eating. Every morning, ready bottles containing of 2 liters of water if you're a woman, 3 liters if you're a man, and keep taking sips throughout the day. Our bodies also signal hunger, not thirst, in the early stages of dehydration. So drinking water neatly sidesteps unnecessary eating. Hunger is also the signal when we are lacking specific nutrients. I'm sure you've noticed that you get hungry quicker after eating 500 calories of fries versus 500 calories of chicken salad. Your body is hoping you'll guess the right foods to eat for the missing nutrients. But if you're like me, you just eat another round of fries. This is why the 8th hack is, in addition to lean protein, add 1 fistful of vegetables and 1 fruit to every meal. But what about times when you don't hit a physical trigger like hunger, but instead an emotional trigger? A long, stressful day and you want to shut off all rational thought and bury yourself in a tub of ice cream. Studies have found that people who suppress their emotions tend to experience uncontrollable cravings more. So the 9th hack is whenever you experience frustration, stress, anger, sadness, or any other emotion we tend to want relief from, open up your notes app and type or voice record your thoughts. Then if you still want food, eat while following the previous hacks. If you tend to suppress emotions, you probably also tend to do all or nothing thinking. After all, what's faster relief from not meeting goals than not having goals? This is why the 10th hack is to make use of the psychological bias of a fresh start. Instead of viewing each day as a fresh start, think of each hack as a fresh start. This gives you way more opportunities to course correct to a successful day. Also, hand in hand with suppressing emotions and all or nothing thinking goes a tendency to not celebrate the daily wins. If you tend to eat a whole tub of ice cream and ate 90% this time, that's a win. Don't let the guilt edge out the progress. To help you with this, the 11th hack is to use the tracker in the description below to check off these hacks as you go about your day. Nobody's going to get 100%. As long as you're hitting enough to see fat loss, you're doing great. Now we move into the evening, where the focus is to prep for good sleep, which will halve your hunger and cravings next day while increasing your metabolism by 35%. The first thing that gets in the way of good sleep is stressing over the work left. If you're like me, this leads to working late, which then leads to late night cravings and revenge bed procrastination, where I stay up extra late for some deserved me time. That's why the 12th hack is to set aside 15 minutes at the end of every day to organize your next day. Literally open up your calendar and slot into 1 to 2 3-hour blocks time to finish the most important task on your plate. That is the one task if you finished, you'd make the most progress in reaching your goal. But what if you did this and then went straight back to work? Herein comes the 13th hack. Leave immediately for a walk, which is the only time you get for phone time after work. Set a 1-hour alarm to go home, and you'll be happy to do so because it's not as comfortable to scroll endlessly outside. But what's stopping you from returning home and continuing to be on your phone? This is why the 14th hack is to keep a lock bag next to your main door. Drop your phone in there and lock it for the rest of the night. You can even go the extra mile where if you live with someone, have only them know the code to open it up. The third thing that gets in the way of good sleep is overeating. This is why the 15th hack is to chew gum while cooking and doing cleanup. No more eating off the spatula. As for during eating and nighttime cravings, continue to use the afternoon hacks. Unlike in the afternoon, the timing of your dinner really matters. Eating too close to sleep messes up your sleep quality. So the 16th hack is to eat dinner 3 hours before you plan to sleep. If you followed hacks 1 and 8, the 3-hour gap also means you won't be hungry while falling asleep. Alcohol also messes up sleep quality. The 17th hack is therefore to replace your favorite alcoholic beverage with their 0% versions for the night. Nowadays, you can find all kinds of non-alcoholic beer, wine, and even gin, all of which taste like the alcoholic versions. Now, what if you get sucked into TV late into the night? This is why the 18th hack is a speed bump. Set an alarm for 1 hour before bedtime to take a 5-minute hot shower. You don't need to wet your hair. After the shower, you're free to go back and finish watching TV. But you guessed it, most times you won't. The hot to cool down effect of a hot shower is a biological signal to our brains that it's time for sleep. But what about the minority of times when you still want to watch TV? The 19th hack comes in for the save. Take another 5 minutes to stretch while playing mindfulness music. If after this you still want to watch TV, do it. But the chances now are tiny. But what if you aren't sleepy yet? The 20th hack is to play white noise when you get into bed. It's been shown to help with quieting the mind and conditioning our brain to start feeling sleepy when we hear it. Okay, but what about when you aren't conditioned yet? This is why hack 21 is to read a fiction book while falling asleep. You can also use your Kindle. The light from the Kindle has not been shown to meaningfully affect sleep, but what if all of this is still not enough to cause sleepiness at your targeted bedtime? If this happens most nights, then it means your body isn't conditioned to go to sleep at that time yet. Which is why hack 22 is to stick to sleeping at the same time all 7 days of the week. You can keep reading your fiction book while you wait to get drowsy. Eventually, 95% of the nights you will be falling asleep at that time like clockwork. But what about socials at night, especially on the weekends? That makes sleeping at the same time every night very hard. And if you're conditioning yourself Sunday to Thursday only to break it all Friday and Saturday, then what's even the point? This kept happening to me too until I got a Garmin Viva watch. I avoid recommending gadgets, but this watch has changed my life. For me, the steps, floors, etc. are not even the point. The main thing is the body battery and stress tracking. I wake up every morning and check this graph to see how my sleep went. Watching this daily has caused natural course correction back to these evening hacks for the past 4 years. We now move into the morning hacks whose purpose is to set your day up for low stress, which in turn means fewer cravings, less overeating, and good sleep at night. Speaking of good sleep, during the conditioning period, you may end up not feeling sleepy until a lot later in the night, making you skip your morning alarm. But then because you woke up later, you also get sleepy later, and the cycle keeps going. Which is why hack 24 is to wake up at your targeted time no matter what. You cannot control when you fall asleep, but you can 100% control when you wake up. So no matter how poor your sleep, jump out of bed and get going. This will cause you to feel sleepy sooner at night, which speeds up your sleep conditioning. You're also dehydrated at this time, which means your brain function is compromised, a very bad thing for making good food choices. So hack 25 is to immediately drink 500 milliliters or about 20 ounces of water after waking up. This will also fill you up, thus reducing overeating at breakfast. If you're like me, your next instinct is to reach for your phone in the lock bag. We want to allow this so you don't binge phone later, but also time box it so you don't end up running late for work and creating a stressful day. So hack 26 is to pick your phone and go for a walk even if it's only 15 minutes. You can scroll social media and check your messages. Set a timer for when you want to return home, and again, because endless scrolling isn't as comfortable outside, you're likely to actually return when time is up. Then drop your phone back into the lock bag while you eat breakfast. Follow the afternoon hacks during breakfast. But what about a stressful day at work leading to overeating? Studies cite work overload and lack of control as the main reasons for stress. By doing hack 12, you've already made a big dent in taking control of your workload. But planning is not the same thing as doing. Enter procrastination. This is why hack 27 is to use manual time tracking to bring attention to when you're procrastinating. Simple awareness is a powerful mitigator. But what if time tracking doesn't reduce procrastination enough? You still end up with eventual work stress and overeating. Studies show that the most productive people work in cycles of 52 minutes on and 17 minutes off. Hack 28 is to use a program like Digital's timeout, which overtakes your entire screen to get you to take a break. This gives you a moment to zoom out and look at the big picture of where your current actions, or lack thereof, are leading you to and course correct. That covers all the daily hacks that should cause fat loss, but how do you know they are actually causing fat loss? This is where the weekly hacks come in. You must have noticed that even if you do all your habits right, you still don't see weight loss sometimes. Having coached 800 plus people now, I found that about a third of people lose inches more often than weight. The drop in inches indicates fat loss, even if not weight loss. So hack 29 is to both measure and weigh yourself and use the body fat tracker linked in the description below to track weekly. What if you are losing fat, but you're not scoring 100% or even 80% on these hacks? If you're like me, your instinct is to go for perfection. Keep trying to nail the 100%. Hack 30 is to resist this urge. If you're losing fat, don't change anything. So even if you're 20% compliant with these hacks and seeing fat loss, amazing. Just maintain the 20% until your fat loss gets stuck for 3 weeks. Okay, then what do I do when my fat loss gets stuck for 3 weeks? Then do hack 31. Make a best guess as to upping or adding one of these hacks and only do that one hack for next week. If it didn't work, you can replace it. If it worked, that's your new minimum set of hacks to maintain. But what if it's really hard to maintain the minimum set of hacks? This is why hack 32 is to pre-plan your week in your calendar. Create a habits calendar and put in what you do right now. Then look at the hacks you're trying to add and make an intentional decision about what you'll give up or reduce to fit it in. But what if the problem is the choices within these eating blocks? Hack 33 is to keep a separate debit card that is only for food spending. Pre-fill it every week with the exact amount you've budgeted to spend on food, and when it's over, it's over. This curbs how many takeouts and snacks you buy. What about the grocery shopping block? Do hack 34, eat before you grocery shop. This will reduce you getting tempted by the sweets sitting next to the cashier. But what if you came into the grocery store with a list full of sweets and junk? That's alright, as long as you follow hack 35. Sort all of your list into 3 categories: foods for fuel, relief, and celebration. So for example, most whole foods go into the fuel category, meaning their purpose is to give you energy. But foods like chips go into relief category for me because I tend to eat them when I'm stressed. And finally, pizza is in celebration category for me because I like having them when I'm relaxing with friends and family. The awareness alone of an unbalanced list will have you changing it toward the fuel category. But what if even after slashing the relief and celebration categories, they're still long? Hack 36 to the rescue. Keep those category foods in a cupboard where you have to crouch to get them out and hide them in the back. Out of sight, out of mind. But maybe you can see yourself getting desperate enough that crouching and digging in the back aren't enough of a speed bump. Then use hack 37. Stick on each shelf the purpose of the food. Combine all the food hacks and you will see a drastic improvement in your eating habits and fat loss. Okay, but what about vacations and holidays? Deploy the last hack. Assess weekly your motivation level on a scale of 1 to 7, where you can only pick an odd number. This covers breaks as well, because if you're about to go on vacation or attend holiday parties, your motivation to keep doing all the hacks will be low. If your motivation level is less than 5, then decide before your break the minimum 1 to 3 hacks you feel at least 9 out of 10 confident about being able to do throughout the break. Remember, we don't give up on fat loss because we stopped our habits. We give up because we are disappointed in ourselves. By intentionally scoping your habits to ones you know you can do, you up your chances of returning to your full plan after the break. But how do you know what these minimum 1 to 3 hacks should be? You can do it in 2 ways. One, if you want my help shortcutting through all the trial and error to nailing your minimum habits for maximum results, then check out the free sneak peek into my Badass Body Blast program in the description and comments below. Or if you want to DIY it, then you don't want to ignore this video where I explain what goes into your full plan, low motivation plan, and no motivation plan. You're never going to have perfect weeks nonstop, so weight loss plan that doesn't account for imperfect weeks is a weight loss plan that doesn't work. Which is why you don't want to miss the complete step-by-step breakdown here. And always remember, you can do it.